Written in the stars is a message of doom for this, our world. And now in the most shattering experience the screen has ever given you, Paramount tells what could happen within your lifetime when worlds collide. An astronomer checks and double-checks his horrifying discovery. A distant star racing through space toward an inevitable collision with this planet. The United Nations meet in emergency session. All conflicts pale before this threat from another world.
If you wait until the danger is visible to the naked eye, it will be too late to escape.
High on a mountaintop, an army of scientists work desperately to build this giant rocket, this modern Noah's Ark, to carry a few picked survivors of our doomed civilization to a new life on another world, reaching the heights of self-sacrifice, the depths of the animal lust for survival as they fight to be among the few who can be saved.
Let's take the ship away from them! Come on!
Fighting among themselves, fighting against time, as doomsday is upon them.
I think all you scientists are crackpots.
Nothing is going to happen.
When worlds collide, you'll see the most amazing, awe-inspiring scenes ever put on film. The forces of nature unleashed in all their terrifying force. Tremendous tidal waves smashing New York City. The molten fires from the bowels of the earth gushing out to consume our world.
Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to another movie review. And this review is going to be on When Worlds Collide, which was released in 1951. And the film stars Richard Derr, Barbara Rush, Peter Hansen, and John Hoyt. And the film is based off of the novel of the same name that was co-written by Edwin Balmer and Philip Wylie. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And the film was produced by George Pal. George Pal has produced, a lot of other films, like he produced Destination Moon. He produced The War of the Worlds, which I still have yet to watch, but here it's a very good movie. He also produced Conquest of Space. He directed and produced The Time Machine, the original Time Machine, which I really enjoyed, the original Time Machine. And he produced and directed some other films. But When Worlds Collide, I really like the film. It's your disaster film, your doomsday type story, end of the world, story here. But basically, what the film is about is Dr. Bronson, who was played by Hayden Rourke, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, and he discovers this new planet called Zyra. And there's this astronomer, Dr. Hendron, who was played by Larry Keaton, where he checks on the data of the Zyra planet, and he discovers that there's a horrifying conclusion, that there's this star in Zyra's orbit called Belus. And, it's doomed, the Belus planet is doomed to crash into the Earth within months. And they gave, this could hit Earth in July at 1 o'clock. So, pretty much basically, Hendron has a daughter named Joyce, who is played by Barbara Rush, and she really takes a liking to David Randall, who is played by Richard Derr, who is a pilot. And pretty much basically, with the impending doom of Earth, of that Belus planet to crash into the Earth, they end up building this space ark, which could bring a small group of people to relocate to Zyra to avoid the mass destruction of the Belus planet crashing into Earth. And pretty much that's basically what the plot to the film is about. But I thought the story was pretty interesting, where this astronomer checks the data of this new planet Zyra and finds out that there's this planet called Bellis, which is a star in Zyra's orbit, is going to crash into the Earth, destroy the Earth. Makes a very interesting story for a disaster film. And I really like watching these 50s sci-fi films. Yes, nowadays all of us could say, the effects are cheesy, but back in that time, in the 50s, these were pretty good effects. People were blown away by how good the effects were in that time. But, you could tell that, the effects, were, done. They built some stuff, like, we see, like, the destruction, like, there's a whole, like, 4-minute destruction of, like, the Earth, like, the water's going through, there's, like, a house where, like, water destroys it. You could tell that, it was a model. Very cool shot in that destruction scene of a city and wars going through, like, the buildings. And you could tell that the space ark, when they fly the space ark, you could tell that it was hung on by like string, by rope. And also when they get to Zyra, you could tell that it's fully animated. Like, you could tell, like, it's animated and it's on, a green screen. But, like I said, at the time, in the 50s, these were good effects, and people were blown away by them. Also, I really like the stuff between Joyce and David. Thought they had some really nice chemistry, for the times that they were on screen, where David really cares about Joyce, of course, who is Larry Keane's character's daughter. You also have Sidney Stanton, who is played by John Hoyt, who is a key character in the film, where he's in a wheelchair, and his character ends up funding the space ark to escape the Earth, and he ends up offering a seat on the ark for himself and his assistant, which creates conflict with the scientists that are trying to save humanity. But when worlds collide, I like the film. It's worth a watch if you're interested in 50s sci-fi films from that time. But there was supposed to be a sequel. They did a book which was called After Worlds Collide, and the film went unproduced because George Pal's other film that he produced, Conquest of Space, was a flop at the box office, and it destroyed any chances of that After Worlds Collide sequel to get made. I really would have liked the sequel to get made and see the characters and all the other side characters living on Zyra, and how they transformed that planet. Really would like to have seen that. But if you haven't seen When Worlds Collide, definitely check it out. It's worth a watch. Like I said, if you're a fan of 50s sci-fi films. But anyway, that's it for my review of When Worlds Collide. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoy this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until next video, I'll see you all later.